Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine
What's
a light
your
on
story?
incredible impact. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission?
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight Sessions. I'm your host, Avital, and today I'm really excited to be talking to Keisha Adair Swaby, who is an inspirational speaker and really just a great person to connect with. How are you today, Keisha?
I'm great, thank you. It's a bit grey here in the UK today, but we're fine.
Well, I hope that the sun comes out. We're here in Tel Aviv, and it's pretty sunny all day, all winter, so we are lucky.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's really great to be connecting with you today and have you on the spotlight session. So why don't we just dive in? So why don't you excuse me, tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, as Avital said, my name is Keisha Adair Swaby. I'm based in the UK. However, my journey started in Jamaica when I came to the UK at the age of 14. And in Manchester here now, I do inspirational talks. I'm a radio presenter, a mother of four children, and do a lot of things in regards to empowering other dyslexics. And also, I've recently written a book which will be out next year.
Oh, amazing. That's so exciting. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey, um, being diagnosed as neurodivergent? I know from, our previous conversations and of course reading about you that it did happen later in life, and I'm sure our listeners would definitely be interested to hear a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. So at the age of 14, when I came to the UK, I didn't have a clue that I was dyslexic, let alone been able to spell it in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came at 14, I started school and I was just really struggling. I got bullied in school because of the way that I spoke, and it was really not a great experience. So I left school with, in the UK, we have something called GCSEs, which is our exam that we take at 16. And when I left school, I left without passing one single GCSE because it was so different from coming from Jamaica to the UK. So I struggled all the way through that, but I was determined because I've always loved English, and I was
Mm-hmm.
determined to get my English GCSE. So I went on to college, put myself through college, and I achieved a grade C in my English language, which was a great experience because I was so happy that I managed to achieve it after everything that I'd been through. So following that, I went straight on to college and then went into the workplace. But when I went into the workplace, I had those same struggles, difficulties with understanding certain elements of reading and understanding information in a clear format. And it was a struggle again in the workplace. And I moved from that job, got made redundant in 2004, left that job and started another job in local government. When I started in local government, the same thing kept happening, and I just had a feeling that there was just something not right, but I just didn't know what it was at the time. And
Right.
in 2016, I plucked up the courage because I was struggling so much. Everything was just not going right at the time. And I left my work of 12 years. That was 12 years in that job. And I decided that I wanted to go and fulfill my dream of achieving my degree. Because when I came to the UK from Jamaica, my grandma used to take me to see relatives, and they always had a picture on the wall of someone in a cap and gown, and I always thought, why is it that they have to do that? And I had a dream and said, one day I want to achieve that. So in 2016, I went off, did my foundation degrees. I had to start from the bottom because I left school with no GCSEs. So I started a
Right.
foundation degree and passed that with flying colours, and then went on to doing a full degree after that. And in the last few weeks of the degree, it was about 8 weeks left for me to finish, I took my work to the librarian, and she checked my work because I made it a promise that I'm going to pay more attention to my stuff, get my work checked before I hand them in, and hence I took it to her. But what happened was the spell checker on my laptop wasn't working. So when I took my work to her, she said to me, Keisha, I didn't know that you were dyslexic. Well, it was like a light coming through the ceiling, shining
Wow.
on me that day. I'll never forget that day when Leslie said that to me. And when I heard those words, I thought, wow, it all makes sense. So I
Hmm.
started to send emails through to the student support services, and they quickly helped me. They gave me so much support in getting me diagnosed. And when I did the test, 3 hours of assessment, they said that I was severely dyslexic and dyspraxic.
Hmm. Hmm.
However, I went through and I completed my degree and achieved a first class honors degree. So that
Wow,
was without
amazing.
any support whatsoever. And
Hmm.
after that, I went straight into doing my master's. Yeah.
Hmm. And what did you get your master's in?
I did my master's in health psychology at Manchester Metropolitan University, and I was
Hmm.
so happy to have achieved a merit from my master's, high grade merit. And it was just one of those most amazing day getting my results through to say that I'd done it. And I did it all the way through pandemic as well. It was a COVID
Hmm.
time, so
Wow.
everything has shifted from face to face studying to doing it online, which was it
Hmm.
wasn't easy, but I did it.
Yeah, I'm sure, definitely. So, while you were telling me that story and you were telling me about your conversation with, I think you said her name was Leslie.
Leslie, yeah.
Leslie, that must have been such an empowering moment for you, realizing like, okay, this is what this is. There is a name to what I've been struggling with, and now I can go get all these resources and support. So that must have been such an empowering moment.
It was, and in my book, I had to give her a massive mention because it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be, I still
Yeah.
wouldn't have been diagnosed. And if I hadn't had the courage to walk out of my job that I was in for 12 years as well, and to follow my dream, that wouldn't have happened
Yeah.
either.
Definitely. And also, the courage to ask for help as well. I feel like a lot of times, I remember when I was in school as well, that it was always hard to ask someone to critique something that I had written. So
Yeah.
the fact that you went out of your comfort zone and asked for help, like that's always a first step and really, really amazing. I'm curious how that diagnosis or having dyslexia and dyspraxia, how that impacted your like learning throughout the pandemic. Like you mentioned that you went from being in person and in the classroom, and of course we all know that everything is over Zoom these days, specifically because of the pandemic. But I'd love to hear a little bit about how you feel the diagnosis and everything that your learning differences, how that has impacted or correlated with learning online.
Yeah, from I started my degree, my master's with Manchester Metropolitan University, I was very open because they also helped me to get the support from, which we have a DSA in the UK, which is a disability student allowance. I was able to
Hmm.
access that, but hadn't I got my diagnosis, it would have been more difficult. So Manchester
Hmm.
Metropolitan University was amazing in giving me support. Whilst everything went online, I'm not going to say that it was easy because I like face-to-face teaching and I
Definitely.
like to have a lecturer in front of me. However, with everything, all of us was in the same situation, but I asked for support and they understood who I am because I've
Hmm.
always been open about what it is that I'm going through so that I can empower out others. So they knew that I had challenges, and the great thing about it as well was that my personal tutor opened up to me and said that she also had dyslexia, which made
Hmm.
a massive, massive difference to me
Hmm.
because I was able
Definitely.
to work with her and she understood me about why I did things the way I do, why I wrote things the way I
Hmm.
did. Also, I had a support worker as well that helped me to kind of look at my work, ensure that I've got it in the right order, ensure that I'm writing academically correct. But
Hmm.
all I can say is the more open you are about your situation and what you're going through, the more and support you'll get. So everyone on my masters, they knew that I was
Hmm.
dyslexic. They knew that if I wrote something not so good, they know why, So all of these things, I wouldn't have been able to be so open about
Hmm.
everything hadn't I got a diagnosis because they'd just be saying, well, you're just saying that you are, but where's the evidence? So
Right.
that's why I'm always championing the greatness of getting a diagnosis, whatever it is, because that does help.
Hmm. Definitely. And I'm curious to hear a little bit about what accessibility means to you. So, this is a question that we ask everybody who does come onto the spotlight session,
Yeah.
but we always get a bit of a different answer because everybody has a unique perspective, and it's really interesting to hear everybody's perspective. So, given everything that you've gone through in the past and also, how you envision your future and the impact that you're making, what does accessibility mean to you?
Accessibility to myself means being able to get that support because I was able to get extra time when I was doing exams, or I could have asked for extra time if I needed for doing assignments, which is a massive help. Being able to ask someone for help with my work, I can go to the librarian. And the thing is, because I'm advocate for all of this, I was able to even help my own daughter to access the support that she needed because she was also diagnosed at university with dyspraxia. So
Hmm.
I had all the knowledge and understanding of what she would need and what she'd need to access to get through her studies. And regardless of what she was going through, she still achieved to get the help and support. She had DSA, she had all the support in university, and she managed to achieve a first class honors degree. Hadn't she been
Wow.
able to access that
Hmm.
in that support and help, who knows what would
Hmm.
have happened? And having me as a mother who's been through it as well helped her in a massive way. So she was able to speak to me about certain things, Mummy, how do I do this? How do I go about this? I told her how to go about getting her support within the university, who to contact, how to do her application to get the help with her for her studies, getting the technology that she needs. It's a massive thing as well is assistive technology for people who are neurodiverse, dyslexic, dyspraxic. There are so much out there that they can access to help them because
Definitely.
as everyone knows, dyslexia has nothing to do with your intelligence in any form. But if you once you can access the right support, it makes a whole world of difference for you in so many ways. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does, and I'm really happy that you said that because it's really important for people to learn more about dyslexia and dyspraxia and to understand it, um, and of course, to make our society more accessible and more inclusive. So the key to that is education and
Yeah.
raising awareness.
Awareness.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And if you had one message to the business community, but then also like educational institutions, what would that be?
Okay, for the business community, I would say in the workplace, I was that one. So get to know your employees. If they are struggling in any way, get to the bottom of it as to why they were struggling. Because I was that person in the workplace struggling in so many ways. All I needed was someone to take me to the side and say, do you know what it is? But whilst I didn't know, however, if we did a bit more research and a bit more digging, I think we would have got to the bottom of it. And remember that every employee is an individual, so they need individualized support. Whilst there may be few employees within the workplace that has dyslexia, everyone is different and one size doesn't fit all. The challenges that I have, somebody else might not have the same challenges. So it's getting to know your employees, getting to know what works for them. And in the Education Institute, another thing is providing support and encourage students to be open about what it is that they're going through because they cannot get the help if they don't speak. It's so good to talk because I make it a mission to reach out to anyone when I was on my masters. Anyone that I realized were also dyslexic like myself, I reached out to them. But hadn't they disclosed that they are, I wouldn't be able to give them any support. And I gave them support on the course while I was doing it because nothing beats having that relatability. Is a massive thing.
Definitely.
So for the industry, just finding out about what it is, and for everyone out there who think there's something that they may be dyslexic or whatever is going on, own who you are. Just own it. It's not a label. It's however a lot of people think that having these condition is just a label or whatever. Yes, in the label in some parts because it is who part of who you are, and it's the label to say it's greatness. Being dyslexic, I shout it from the rooftop to say how special and amazing I am because I am, and it has nothing to do with my intelligence or anything that I can achieve. And I'm a prime example that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve if you go out there and just go for it.
Definitely. Um, yeah, I mean, thank you so much for being here. It really was such a wonderful conversation, to hear everything that you went through, growing up and throughout the educational institutions that you went to. And yeah, I mean, I think your story is so empowering, and I'm sure that it's going to reach so many more people who will be able to relate and will be able to connect with you. So definitely looking forward to continuing the relationship and continuing to connect. Um, and then if anybody would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
Okay, so I've got a group on Facebook which is called Empowering
Mhm.
Dyslexics, which is on my t-shirt. That's my brand.
Amazing.
And also, when you see the book comes out next year, you'll see those colors on the brand because that's what it's
Yes.
going to be called. And I am very active on Facebook as well. They can reach me out
Mhm.
from my name, Keisha Adair Swaby. I love LinkedIn. That's where we connected. I
Yes.
have a great network on LinkedIn in the neurodiverse space. And anyone, please free to connect with me anytime, and any questions that you may have, or collaboration, if anyone want to do anything together, just let me know. Also on Instagram, so that's Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn that I love so much. So yeah.
Amazing. So we'll definitely put all those links in the description notes of the video. But Keisha, it really was such a pleasure speaking with you today, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a nice day.